Thank you all for coming. This is the last presentation, the last panel discussions. I'm sure everybody's ready to go home. And my name is Deepak Devlalikar. I'm a product manager by heart. I come from the Bay Area. And tomorrow, January 19th, I'll complete 30 years in the United States as an immigrant, legal immigrant. I'm hoping I won't be deported on Monday. Uh, so show of hands, how many of you are product managers in here? Nobody? One? Any founders, building, scaling teams? Okay, so this discussion is going to be useful for you. So in the last 30 years, I spent half of them in big five consulting firms, got bored with it, and then I found my true calling, building products, and I love that. So last 15 years, I have been building enterprise B2B products for startups, scale-ups, and last year I decided I'll get into product coaching, advising, did a little bit of that, but once you build products and launch products, the bug bites you. So this year, last year, June, I decided to start my own company, Ziply, which is in the social amplification space with channel marketing targeted at B2B companies. So today's discussion is about from zero to global strategies for building scalable product organizations. Product is a very unique role. It sits at the center of business, customers, technology. But it's also a very debatable role, very contentious role. If you follow LinkedIn, if you follow social blogs, there's a lot of debate about what do product managers really do? What is the role of product management? Some say they are the CEOs of the product. Some say, oh, they are just project managers, just business analysts, requirements gatherers. Have you heard all of that? Yes. How do you measure product management success? Is it the speed of delivery? How many features delivered? Backlog, burn down charts? Or is it about delivering customer value? Or is it about revenue? Or something in between? Or all of it? And as you scale from inception, when the founders are the product managers first, and then they grow and they hire the product teams, how does the shape of product teams evolve? Those will be our topics for today. I have a very good panel here, a mix of CEOs of product companies, as well as from the go-to-market side of their companies. So Gui Perez is the CEO of ErgoMotion, and he's based here in Santa Barbara, I think. Renil Komitla is CEO of Teralogic. We have to thank him for this thing. Uh, then we have David Richter. He's the VP of Business and Customer Development at DoorDash. He has also worked at Lime and Uber in the past. So I'm hoping to get a lot of like the GTM aspects that are important to build products. Gaurav doesn't need that much of an introduction. He's the COO of ClickUp, the most successful SaaS company out of San Diego. So with that, I'm going to start asking each of you to introduce yourself. Tell us about your role, your company. What does your company make? A little bit about your role in the company, what stage your company is, and maybe some of your previous experiences as well. So we can start with you.
Yeah. Well, thanks for being here, guys. I'm Guy Perez. I'm the CEO of ErgoMotion. ErgoMotion is based out of Santa Barbara, California. We started, actually, this will be our 20th year. 2025 we'll be celebrating our 20th anniversary. So we started 2005, and we design, market, and manufacture adjustable bed bases. So when you walk into a mattress store or a furniture store, the bed that moves that has a remote control, we're the market leaders for that in the United States. And yeah, it's been a wonderful journey. I started with them early on when they were still a startup, and eventually became the CEO. And as we start talking more about product, in our case, we're a B2B business where we mainly sell to other OEMs, to mattress manufacturers. So we private label a lot of our products. We also have some smart beds that can track your vitals and how well you're sleeping at night, and give you some feedback on how to have a better night's sleep and overall better wellness in general. So that's some of our core products. And as we continue to discuss today, the product management side of things, I'd like to say that the thing I'll start off by saying is I'm a big believer in jobs to be done. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Professor Christensen's theory on that. I think he's from Harvard. Basically, that you have to discover what is the job to be done that your product has. What is the actual need that it's fulfilling? And I always keep that in mind as we develop products and we go on launching new endeavors.
Anil?
Yeah, I'm Renil Komitla. I'm CEO of Teralogic. So Teralogic is a design and AI-driven solution provider. So we help my friend here, guys like this, to build products. So I've been doing this for the last 17 years. So in between, I had an itch to build my own products. I branched off, started a company called Yatrajini. So we build an e-commerce portal for Indian market, which is both bus ticketing and cab booking service. So I burned $50 million, and later I realized that the product has to be designed for the customer versus the product getting designed for your ego or your team's ego. So unless until you build it right for the customer and right time to market is what matters a lot. So that's my journey in a nutshell. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Gaurav. I'm the CEO at ClickUp. ClickUp makes productivity and collaboration work management software. For people in San Diego, you should know about us or you would know about us. We bring all your tasks, docs, whiteboards, AI, chat, everything in one place. I lead all of the business teams, so I'm responsible for everything around growth product, marketing, sales, pre-sales, partnerships, data systems. So anything that gets revenue into the door. Before this, I've done a bunch of stuff at the intersection of product, data, and building business across e-commerce, hardware, and fintech. Thank you.
Hello, my name is David Richter. I lead business development and corporate development at DoorDash. DoorDash is one of the leading platforms for local commerce delivery. We're in about 30 countries, whether through DoorDash itself or is there a back? Oh. Better or worse? Better? Okay. Whether through DoorDash or our Volt subsidiary. Representative biz dev deals include the deal we recently announced with Lyft, where you could combine your Lyft membership and your DoorDash membership. We now have about 18 million subscribers, whether to Dash Pass or Volt Plus. Other deals would be Amazon Prime Canada and Australia, where you get the Dash Pass benefits. Other transactions would include your ability to get the Max, HBO Max benefit with DoorDash. On the corp dev side, that's mergers and acquisitions. The notable deal there was the $3.5 billion acquisition of Volt. We also do warrant deals with our commercial partners, and we're investors. We've invested it as little as $5 million in a pop and as much as $400 million. For better and for worse, $5 million is probably our best investment. $400 million, not so much. I'm glad to be here. I am not a product person by training. I have led product teams both on the software side for video codec company as well as on the hardware side, but I'm primarily on the deal side, working closely with product teams.
Awesome. Great. So let's start with product management questions in general. My first question is a very controversial question that I want each one of you to answer. Is product management function important? Yes, no, why? And a related question to that is, what is the main mission of a product team?
I believe of course, product management is important, in my opinion. That's what we've experienced at the company, at ErgoMotion, the company I lead. And why is it relevant? Well, the short answer would be because you're connecting the customer's needs to product features, right? I think that through product management you can establish that. Early on, I think you asked Deepak, what's important about successful product management? Is it features? Is it adding value? In my opinion, it's revenues. So if you're connecting consumer needs to product features, which results in good revenues, I think it's a cycle that creates some success.
To this is yes, you definitely need good product managers, but the product managers who design products talking to the customers and being in the field is very important in my view. the product managers not meeting the customers and designing what they think is right, it's a strict no. So if you can build good products that would yield results and bring revenue, money means a lot, right? Revenue coming in, that's all that matters.
I've actually gotten into flack on LinkedIn. I said product manager's main job is to grow revenue. And I got a lot of like, "Oh, what about customer value?" And my counter was, if you build for customer value, you may get revenue. But if you build for revenue, you have to build customer value.
Yes,
There
I
is no
completely
option.
agree. Yeah.
What do you think, Gaurav?
Yeah, I think it's a tricky one because I'll actually double click on what you said because that might be a better input. Great product builders are extremely rare to find, but the trade itself has grown manifold. So, what you find is, do you need product managers? In our company, we have that same divide. I said every product manager should own revenue, and my CEO Zeb, who owns product, and I own growth product because that's the revenue facing part of product. He would not have product managers own revenue, but they'll own customer outcomes. And there's a good reasoning behind it as well. Shopify doesn't have product managers own revenue. They focus on the future. So if you make everything too revenue centric, they'll always be optimizing buttons versus finding levers that take time to mature. So I think the right balance is somewhere in the middle, but not to say product management is not needed, it's needed. But the world of product management would get broken down into product builders and product ops, which has already happened. So if your job as a product manager was just to do operational work versus like bring that craft to the table, you would become more of product ops versus if you have designers would become product people, engineers would become product people. Because I think what's needed is product builders and then ops people who ensure that all the threads are connected. And right now, product management is a mix of both, which is why it's not a standardized thing across the industry.
No, product management does not matter. Someone has to say it. We can't all get along. I come from an ops background. So whether at Uber, Lime, or DoorDash, we are ops driven companies. And product then meets the needs that we sense in the market by putting stuff out there. If you've seen the Stanley Tang Prezzo on how they started DoorDash, it was 2 undergrads and a business school student, and they took 1 hour and they put something up on a screen. It was a bunch of PDFs, and they put one of their cell phone numbers, and they got a call, and it was a guy who wanted Thai food. So they answered the call, and they went to the restaurant, they bought the food, and they delivered to him. And the next day, they got 5 calls, and the day after that, 7 and 10, and so forth. And they built the product to meet the business needs of an ops-focused company. Now, I say it purposefully in a controversial way. Of course, product management does matter. And I think Gaurav has said in a much more nuanced way. But coming from a place where ops matters above all, just keep iterating, have great product partners that then build for scale ultimately. But scale is actually your enemy in the early days. But once you are reaching scale, then you better have good product management. Otherwise, you're going to break down under the stress.
Touched a little bit about for my next question, Gaurav. How is product organized in your organization?
It's a complicated one because when you grow like triple digits year on year, everything that you build doesn't last. But broadly, the way we have structured our product teams is there's innovation product that's focused on like we just built and launched a Slack competitor in 6 months, and it works well, right? So to do all of that at that fast velocity, you need an innovation team. So we have an innovation product team. Then we have a core product team, as we call it. The core product team is responsible for maintaining the hundreds of features that we have. Then there's a growth product team. Growth product team owns things that connect product to revenue, pricing, monetization, e-commerce, onboarding flows, sharing and virality, all of that stuff. And then we're in the process of potentially creating an enterprise product team that's focused on enterprise features, the user platform, and all of that stuff. So you could almost break it down into you need a infrastructure team, but then all the other teams are more feature focused, and then one part of our team is focused on revenue.
That makes sense. Renil, you mentioned that you had grown a product to like a 50 million revenue, and how was that organized by you? Especially that you were from the services side of the company. How did that work out?
Being at the services end, we look at multiple product companies building products. So we get first-hand experience looking at how people building products from technology that is deep tech all the way to e-commerce. So when we picked up a product and we branched off as a separate company, I was the product manager for it. I built to the first 1.5 year the way I went out in the field talking to the customers, understanding what exactly is needed for Indian market especially. Did the user research, created my own wireframes, UX kind of thing, and gave it to the team. We built a good product, but we were too early. So we built it to $100 million GTM, but the rat race is you build $100 million in revenue, but you lose $120 million, right? So net, that business is about pouring in more money. So the product was built good, but it doesn't matter how good of a product you build unless until you crack the operations. So we failed in scaling it up beyond that $100 million, and we had to wrap it up. Yeah, COVID hit, and we
Yeah.
had to
A lot
take
of
it off the
business
market.
models changed after that. Geet, you are a hardware product as well, so and there is some element of software also involved in there. So how are your product teams engaged? How do they work with engineering and UX, and what's that topology like?
Yeah. So first and foremost, we are a hardware company that has now infused its hardware with technology. So we started with product designers, product engineers. That actually a lot of them came from the automobile industry. These automobile designers went from designing cars to designing adjustable beds, the beds that move, right? It's what we sell, and they think that's infinitely easier to build. So it was a good fit for them because they say, hey, this is easy. So they end up designing things that are really cool. So how we started was basically to kind of give you a short version of the story. We started with these automobile product designers designing based on what we believed the market need was when we were a startup, and kind of throwing things at the wall, see what sticks. As we started to refine ourselves and do things like voice of the customer, we actually connected our product development team to marketing. So now in our company, product development and all product management reports into marketing, because now marketing is feeding our product team what needs to be developed. Yeah, so that's how we do it. And I don't know, I haven't worked in many other industries, but in the home furnishings industries where our company is a part of, that's a best practice in the industry that I come from. So that's how we structured it. And within that team is the software UI UX team that also gets its guidance from marketing.
So David, you worked in DoorDash and you have previously worked at Lime and Uber. These are all like marketplaces, very demand side and supply side of things. So how is product management organized across these three companies? And if you can compare and contrast.
I'll probably restrict myself to DoorDash, where I am now, just because my information might be outdated on the others. But you're right. For us, it's a bit different. It's operationally focused. So you'll have the core business. In the case of DoorDash, it would be the platform that allows for the delivery of restaurant meals. And you'll have focus on the Dasher partners and what must be built for them. Focus on the restaurateurs. How do we address their needs? And then the consumers who get the benefit of those meals. Then for every new vertical, and there is a group called New Verticals, and that does already in the billions in value, there'll be a similar product team that meets their needs. The other two teams I'd highlight, similar to what I was hearing, is there's a growth-focused team, and we sincerely believe in 1% better every day. Of course, if you are 1% better, you will be, at the end of the year, as my 4.5-year-old says, infinite better. That's not quite right,
31.
But you will actually be 37x better. So compounding is a wonderful thing. We believe that as part of our growth team. We also have Dash Labs, and they lead the initiatives that will hopefully bear fruit 5 to 10 years from now.
So the supply side teams and the demand side team, like the consumers who order food, do they like at some point they connect up or they operate
You're
independently?
engineering very different things. It's a very different mindset. We have literally millions of independent contractors that are dashers, and that's a very different thing to solve. For example, we enable the payments for them through a partner named Fiserv, and our product and eng team sits at the table with us as we're contemplating what to do. What we're doing for the merchant side, meeting their needs, is a very different struggle. Working with restaurateurs who, for them, it's often a daily struggle meeting their needs. And then retailers, which are very significant in a very different zone, it's a very different set of problems. And you attract product leaders who are attracted to those particular problems.
I see. Okay, got it. So Gaurav, what do you think are the key attributes for hiring PMs in any organization?
Well, it depends what you're trying to solve for. An infrastructure PM would look very different than a growth PM, and they should look different. So it comes down to like, what are you looking to solve? But at the end, yeah, I mean, you do need someone with analytical skills, with curiosity for the customer. You need a certain level of IQ to be able to speak between different traits. But the most important one would be empathy, understanding how do you connect customer empathy to a technical solution that solves just the right amount. So I think it comes down to your ability to connect empathy, like to have empathy for the customer and be able to translate that into product vision.
Vision. Okay. How about your business, Keith? Because you have a mix of hardware and software. So what do you look for if you were to hire a product manager?
First and foremost, I'm a big believer in you can teach skills, you can't teach attitude, right? So we always look for people to have a right attitude, growth mindset. I want to learn. I want to be coached. I want to learn from the business, right? So that's the number one thing I'm looking for. And then usually they get trained by the other design. We have spectacular designers and product managers that have been with the company for many years, and they get coached and trained by those. So that's how we do it. I'm not saying it's the most efficient way, but you mentioned empathy, attitude. I think is something that is very important.
Is industry experience important, do you think?
I'm going to say something that's probably going to be disagreed, but I don't think so. I don't think that it's necessarily important because you can teach that.
So if you're building a consumer product, empathy, customer interaction, all this matters a lot. But let's say if you're building a deep tech product, all these skills plus industry expertise is very important. Let's say if I'm building a GPU, there is no way a 18-year-old kid who has no experience can come and be a product manager, or someone who is out in the field who understands the customer can build it. Only a guy who has been in chip industry, who has done it, who has seen it, who understands the know-hows of every detail can build a great product. So I disagree on this one aspect, but the thing is, it's very important if you're in deep tech. Anything else, probably you can do lots of things with empathy and customer interaction.
I think there's a lot more nuance if you're hiring for a healthcare company than regulation. Understanding of regulation
Very important.
is very important. So it depends. B2B, healthcare, fintech, consumer, different skill sets are needed. Okay, I'm going to shift gears just a little bit. There's a whole lot of talk around product-led growth, sales-led growth, and so on and so forth. ClickUp is one of a very successful companies, so I want to start with you, Gaurav. First of all, what is the definition of product-led growth? And let's start there first.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a made up word and people define it in many different ways. But the core of it comes down to your distribution machine is tightly coupled with product, and that manifests itself in multiple forms. The most common form is you have a freemium version of your software. So previously, sellers would sell first, and then the software gets deployed. But in a PLG motion, people try out your software first, and if they like it, they buy, and you have a deeper sales conversation. And then the second way to look at it is there are mechanics in your product by virtue of which the product grows itself. For example, when 5 people in a company start using ClickUp, They invite other employees in the company to start using ClickUp. So the way I look at it is, in a product-led growth company, your growth mechanics, be it sales, be it growth, be it paid advertising, everything revolves around product, and they're deeply integrated with each other to ensure that product is the flywheel that triggers everything else.
You have a sales team as well.
We do, yeah.
So what's the interface between the product-led growth versus the sales team?
Yeah, and I think you could look at, there are maybe there are three ways to look at sales. 20 years ago, some of the best sales leaders I've met come from that time. They don't need leads. They don't need marketing to go create inbound. They're out there on the field, hunting, building pipe, closing multi-million dollar deals. Then you look at early 2000s, HubSpot comes in with this idea of inbound. So now suddenly sellers need leads that come in inbound. These are warm leads, and then they go close that. Now we live in the world of PLG, where my sellers work customers that have been acquired through self-serve. That means they don't go talk to an account if they're not using the product already. But if an account like NVIDIA uses ClickUp, we landed with 50 members, they were using self-serve, and then our seller went and made that a big enterprise account. So that's really the difference. But in any good PLG company, you will see all the three motions that I said. There'll be elite sellers. They don't need much. They'll go build their own book, build their own pipeline, and they'll succeed. Then there'll be more junior sellers who need that inbound lead flow. And then there'll be sellers who will maximize value from the accounts and the companies that you've already landed using self-serve.
And Renil, you built an enterprise product, right? So was it a product-led or sales-led at that time?
That was more product-led. But my case was B2C. So when you build a B2C product, that's a different story. You put in a lot of marketing dollars. A lot of marketing dollars went in. But I can give you one use case. For example, in our current services company, we use a product called Figma for design. So it was completely exactly the way how Gaurav mentioned. So 4 years back, we were big time Adobe users. Then Figma came in. We used the free license first. 2 designers used it. They're like, "Wow, this is awesome." Then we moved from 2 to 5. Then moved into paid version. Like within no time now, we don't use Adobe at all except for illustration. So 200 designers using Figma. It's completely. We never met the sales guy. We just used our credit card. We just put it on the website. Boom. Now Figma CEO was in India, and their Asia Pac was in India like 2 months back. They came and met us because it's like one of the biggest account from a services company. I'm a strong believer of, if you build the right product, and if you have the right mechanism of promoting your product, the product promotes itself. So unless until you are building a product that is heavy dollar size with hardware and software, then you need hunters, then you need account managers, you need relationships at the top level. It's a different way of selling. Irrespective of all this, you still need all the three types. You need your hunters, you need your regular salespeople who will chase the inbound leads, then you need your account management, which is the third part, which is you already have the software in a company, then you go and build the relationship to grow.
Okay, got it. And yours is more of a direct sales to the manufacturers and so on. So it's like a B2B sales, correct?
Yeah, yes, correct. So our product, I would say, is a lot simpler than what you guys are working with. It's a bed, and yes, we do mainly B2B sales, and it's very sales driven. You have to go and meet with the customer. There's a very long sales cycle that you have to go through to create a bespoke product for the B2B customer, the enterprise customer you're selling to. I wish our product was like software where it would sell itself, but it weighs 250 pounds. It's got to be delivered. Most people don't know about adjustable beds. They learn about it, and when they walk into a store to buy a mattress. So our case is a little bit different, but it's fascinating what you guys can do with software.
Be self-service. I'm actually curious about DoorDash, especially on the merchant side, the restaurant side. Do they get to try it out first, or do you have to acquire them?
So again, we're an outlier. We are not product-led. We are ops-led. We have 35 million monthly average users. We put things out there. If we find product market fit, Our product team then does an excellent job of catching up to what our customers are saying. Our customers are consumers, our customers are restaurateurs, other retailers. Our customers are our Dasher partners. We're a three-party platform. So we really put things out there and you see if it works. One easy example would be our white label product. Many times you'll get a delivery from your favorite restaurant and you'll see that it has a DoorDash label or something of that kind on it. And you're like, I went directly to Puesto. Why did I get it from DoorDash? It's because, and by the way, it might not be true of Puesto, they choose to use our service for logistics, even if they're not using us for marketing. That's a multi-billion-dollar business that a great ops leader, probably a 20-something-year-old, said, I should just go ahead and do this. That kind of hustle mentality is what we seek to embolden, to have more of. The worst thing for us as a public company is if we become ossified and things must travel through a product hierarchy before it's rolled out. And that's what we fight against. That being said, we have an excellent product leader, and he is very good at rationalizing all these different threads because he has to make it work at scale.
Right. Is there such a thing as this type of business is good for PLG, this type of business is good for sales-led, can you unpack that a little bit for us? And there's actually a related question for some of the founders in here. Should they go product-led first and then add sales-led? Should they go sales first? What is that dynamics in here?
Yeah, I mean, I have a framework that's different than PLG, SLG, but it kind of gets into that view. And it's not just about B2B. It works B2B, B2C, however you want to see it. Plot a 2x2 matrix. On one side, you plot how expensive is the product. And on the other side, you plot how big is the market. So if you have a massive, if your business is one where your market is really big and your product is cheap, you have to lean on product and marketing to do the distribution for you. On the other hand, if your market is limited, but your ACV, your deal sizes are huge, then the model becomes a sales-led or human-led, if you may. So the question isn't so much about PLG versus SLG. The question is more around, is this an automated digital e-commerce motion or is it a human-led motion? And for example, billionaires buying jet planes. That is not a B2B motion, but that is very much a sales-led growth motion, or you need those relationship managers to serve that. No one buys that online. So I think that's a better way to look at it, as if you have a huge market and the product is cheap, go direct. If you have a small market and the product is very expensive, then of course you need humans in the loop. And everything else in the middle is a gradient of one of these two.
I think there's a very nice blog article written by Leslie, who used to be the CEO of Symantec. It goes along that same line. Instead of 2x2, he has a list of 5 things. ACV is one of them. Complexity of implementation, like something like a ClickUp, you can sign up, credit card, but something like a compliance software where there's a lot of setup, it's just very, very hard to do that on a product-led growth type. So that was a very interesting essay that I had seen. Okay, we'll go to the last section. What's a good discussion on product without AI, right? So what is changing for product managers in the age of AI, and what is not changing? So Renil, if you can start with that, since you are in this AI space.
So what is changing is for every division, including product management, there are certain features. Let's say a product manager, after talking to a customer, can come in and before creating his own workflow and the requirements, ChatGPT is definitely helping. So it all depends on how you look at it. We tried out with a couple of customers on this space. It is definitely giving suggestions, but you need to fine tune the model. So if you ask me, can a product manager completely rely on AI to build a product? Probably no, but it can definitely aid in building the right product. Okay. Yeah, more than for product management, the next level of like design, development, test, automation, it is really helping a lot.
I'm assuming you have AI in your mattress products too?
We have some in our smart beds that interact with the customers. We're infusing it with AI. But on the project management side, on the product design side, it's certainly, I see it as an enhancement to what they're already doing, right? So we have wonderful product designers, product managers, and AI is basically, it's like taking steroids, right? They can do a lot more. They can get a lot more done. I even feel like they get more creative by going into AI and using those resources.
Okay, what about ClickUp? I'm sure there have been a lot of discussions about
Yeah, I think
AI.
I'll go back to my old answer. There's part of product which is around crafting beautiful products.
Yes.
The second part of product is I need to interview customers, I need to look at data, I need to analyze feedback, I need to go read reviews. So everything that is the ops part, AI will be a very solid sidekick. So if you're a product manager who is on the ops side, you better want to get really good with AI so that you can use AI and multiply yourself. But I think that's what you'll see, like good people with very good product sense paired with AI sidekicks, so they build the right thing as efficiently as they can.
Any advice you can give to upcoming product managers on how to leverage AI? Or actually, not to leverage AI to help their craft, but how to think about adding AI into their products for adding more customer value.
Whatever Gaurav said just now, right? Because you have so much data, you talk to customers, you have user research, you should know how to effectively use AI to craft beautiful solutions. Number one. Number two, going back to whatever everyone said, empathy and listening to the customer, especially if you're doing a B2C, right? Very, very important. If you're building a B2D deep tech, there is so much research you can do using AI. Yeah, in spite of you having a lot of technical depth and knowledge, you can use AI to probably benefit yourself for building beautiful products in deep tech.
I probably go back to the jobs to be done as well. Like, what are the customers trying to do? What are the inefficiencies today that we cannot solve today, and can AI do it? And that's the other way to look at it as well.
So we recently looked at one solution for a steel-based construction company, where how AI can help them build their structure in a much more efficient way. When you put this together, the whole building blocks, it would give you the optimized way. So that allows you to save some dollars, like let's say 20% efficiency in the way how you do things.
Okay, we are trying to wrapping up. Any questions from the audience for the panel around product? No? Cool. Any last minute key takeaways? How to be better product leaders, and especially for founders as they build their product teams?
Yeah, I'll say, yeah. As an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as a CEO, focus on, in my opinion, you should focus on the attitude, and then mold the product designer and the product manager into what you need them to be. But there is also a lot of importance in skills and experience depending on what industry you're in, for sure.
So build fast, fail fast. I always tell all my product managers that, build only what is needed for the customer in the phase one. Try it out, make adjustments such that if you fail, you have time to correct it. You spend multiple years, then you fail, there is no looking back.
Fair enough. How about you?
Very similar. Descope. We have this tenet in ClickUp that have you descoped it to the fundamental basics that's needed so you can ship it next week.
Okay.
So descope, and then unless you're in hardware, you can't. I was in hardware before. Once it takes investment to get it right, but in software, descope and ship.
Okay.
And descoping itself is an art. So you have to know how to descope.
Descope as
just
in
the
like
right thing.
removing things.
Yeah, remove the things, remove clutter, remove requirements, just ship the
MVP,
basic.
like an MVP approach.
Like an MVP. It's like that famous meme that you might have seen. The MVP for a car is not a tire. It's a bicycle. So you need to build a bicycle first, or a skateboard first, then build a bicycle, then build a motorcycle, then build a cheap car, then build an expensive car.
Right.
The problem is a lot of people love to build, so they'll build the best car, but haven't validated that maybe this a car won't solve the main need. They need a bicycle. So descope and ship.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be very consistent with that insight. Jack Dorsey used to say, simplify, and there's a word I'm going to leave out because I'll be more polite, but simplify. Make it more simple and allow the market to then speak to it. You could always add greater features to address what you see as a later need, but get out with a good product. It doesn't have to even be great, that is simple and that your engineers could actually implement on a reasonable time frame, and then build upon it. Don't try to build the perfect product that is far too complex because you don't have the market data yet. Get that data and then continue to iterate. Come out with a good, simple product.
Very wise wisdom. Not easy to do. Reminds me of that famous person who wrote a very long letter because he did not have time to write a short letter. So, writing short requirements, simplifying is the hard part. So, if you are writing PRDs still today in this age, you have to simplify. Thank you so much for everyone on the panel in here. So please give them a round of applause and thank you.